afternoon. My name is Scott Rutherford, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人张舒，在纽约向您问好。周二美股收低，我们看到今天道琼斯工业指数也是连续第7天的下跌。今天的一个罪魁祸首或者说市场下跌的原因，主要是原油，因为它是自4月份以来首次跌破了40美元每桶。但是有意思的是，在各个板块方面，我们发现能源板块是所有板块里面唯一上涨的。因此，今天几乎所有的交易员都在讨论，为什么能源股和原油期货之间会有如此大的一个差距？有可能这是一个暗示下一步的原油将会反弹。今天在宏观经济方面，我们发布了一系列的经济数据，其中包括了6月份的个人消费以及个人收入。其中6月份的个人收入是上涨了0.2%，不及预期，但是个人的消费是上涨了0.4%，高于预期。总的来说，我们看到今天的市场下跌是引发了一些恐慌。这其中包括了一些大的机构目前在唱衰着市场，其中就包括了像摩根大通以及高盛。有意思的是，他们认为8月份对于股市来说并不是一个很好的月份，只不过在历史数据上，8月份一直对于股市来说都并不是收益最高的一个月份。但是在他们发布了这样子一个言论之后，这可能是左右市场今天的一个心理状态下跌的一个重要的原因。好的，更多的消息让我们来看一下今天的交易员访谈。Hi Scott, your stocks traded lower today and break the 2160. So do you think today's pullback is actually healthy or like the consolidation we saw before, or it's a sign that investors are ready to short the market?
Well, the reason why we look at the 8 and 21 day is because it measures speed, how fast you have to get in these things. So when the S&P or the S&P cash was holding above the 8 day for 4 sessions, 8 sessions, 12 sessions, everyone's like, oh, I don't want to miss the next move higher. But you know what? Today it broke the 8-day and now held at 21 days. So does it mean it's unhealthy? No, it just means that the market probably won't be making new highs as fast as if it held. So it gives you a way to measure the composure. You look here at the chart. You know, overall, you know, not so bad. This is the 2-year range. We're still above the 2-year range, so we haven't even tested that. Look where we came from post-Brexit, and then that pullback right there into the jobs number. So really, all we did on a short-term level is pierce this upper range, which tells you that maybe things aren't going to be making new highs anytime quickly or a little or not as quickly, you know, and now we have a little price discovery. Okay, first time holding the 21-day we held, so now we have 2147. Okay, so we'll see now, maybe this range now gets a little bigger. So that's what we do now. We make it bigger. You go like this, now that is gone, and you can go like that. So now traders are going to have to go like this. Here's the top end of the range, here's the low end of the range, and now we'll figure out how much longer we have to live in here. But otherwise, all in all, we lost some momentum, so you have to be a bit more careful trying to buy things, much more selective.
Okay, and speaking of today's pullback, is it led by a lot of sectors or it's just by a few sectors? And how about IBB and the Qs, because they were the leaders yesterday?
I think actually they took it in stride. You know, like the S&P cash went to the 21 days, so you want to see where's the relative strength. So you look at the Qs, it hasn't broken its 8-day yet, right? So this is the 8-day moving average, so it's right there. So the Qs right now are showing you now if this holds the 8-day and goes sideways while the market pulls in, it'll show you that's the first group you go to when the market bounces. Then you look at the IBB. The IBB was green today. Okay, so basically look at that. This trend off the lows, we've talked about it. Okay, if you bought a dip, if you bought when it came back and retested this prior breakout with the Biogen news, you got paid. Okay, so at this point, let it hold and prove it could hold this for a while. So, you know, this is still trading well, especially ever since breaking this downtrend. So the technology sector and the bios, you know, at least you could have bought on dips. And while we see whether or not what type of pullback further we have in the overall S&P cash.
Yesterday, you mentioned that we had a lot of trades under different stock names. So speaking of like Apple, Amazon, and Google, how did you deal with these positions today?
Well, I came in long Apple stock, less because we rallied for 3 days in a row, and also Apple options and also a little bit of Facebook. So, you know, after 3 days up, selling some strength, I'm like, let me try and buy a dip and see, you know, what could hold. At this point, you know what, I wasn't really that, I'm not concerned, but I was a little upset that, you know, it did trade below, okay, the moving average right here, but it did come back above it. That got me out of my stock, but I actually added options because I still think long term my target for September is for Apple to get back towards this 112 area. So a one-day pullback, considering where it came from, not the end of the world. But I'm not going to sit in it stock-wise. So tomorrow or the next day, if Apple holds this spot, like here's a down day, it held it and went sideways. If it holds it, maybe I'll get back into the stock and I'll get paid on the options that I sold some on strength and bought some on weakness, and I managed the position. As far as Facebook, it had no follow-through. This looked as if it was going to hold the 8-day right there. So I said, okay, I'm going to be long some Facebook because it had good earnings, but it was sold on it. But I wasn't so concerned because of where it came from. But came to the 8-day, went red, broke it, got me out, and it didn't have downside follow-through. But now you have a high, you have a lower high. It's just showing me it needs more time.
Okay, I think we are out of time, so that's all we have for today.
But let's just touch on oil because
Okay.
the oil stocks are up while oil was down. So maybe oil names don't think that prices are going to be sustained below 40 for too long. So we'll look into that tomorrow. So tune into the morning call.
好的，就像 Scott 所说的，明天我们会继续关注原油。好的，谢谢您的收看，我们明天再见。